Hello, friends. Welcome back to Fear Tales. Today, we're reading 7 terrifying stories about obsessive people. With the new movie Obsession getting attention online, I thought this would be the perfect time to share some truly disturbing stories. These stories are about people who became obsessed with someone and slowly crossed every line. Some wanted love, some wanted attention, and some wanted complete control. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Fear Tales if you enjoy scary stories like these. Now, let's begin.
My name is Marcus, and I'm still not sure if what happened to me was real or if I'm still living in some kind of nightmare. I met Sarah in my first week of college. She was in my biology class. Nothing special about that first meeting. She sat 2 rows behind me, and I honestly didn't notice her at all. But she noticed me. God, did she notice me. It started small. I'd see her in the library, sitting at a table where she could see my face. When I'd catch her eye, she'd quickly look away. I thought nothing of it. College has thousands of people. Coincidences happen. Then she was in my chemistry lab, a different class, different time, different building. She requested a partner change after being placed with someone else, and suddenly she was standing next to me at the lab bench, her shoulder almost touching mine. "I like chemistry," she said, not looking at me, "and I like labs." I nodded and focused on the experiment. By week 3, I started noticing her everywhere. The coffee shop where I studied, the gym where I worked out, the dining hall at the exact times I usually ate. My first thought was that maybe she was just on the same schedule as me. College campuses have patterns. Everyone falls into routines. But then she spoke to me in the hallway. "You always eat lunch at 12:30, she said, appearing beside me as I walked to class. "I noticed. I wait until 12:45 so I don't run into you. I like watching you when you don't know I'm there." I stopped walking. She said it so casually, like she was commenting on the weather, but something about her tone made my skin crawl. "That's weird," I said carefully. She smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who had just been complimented. "I'm not trying to be weird," she said. "I just think you're interesting. I want to know everything about you." I told her that was inappropriate and walked away. I thought that would be the end of it. Freshman in college, probably lonely, probably misunderstood. Everyone has an awkward phase. It wasn't the end. The next day, I found a note in my backpack. I had no idea how it got there. The note was written in neat, careful handwriting. "I'm sorry if I scared you. I didn't mean to. I just like you. I like the way you run your hand through your hair when you're thinking. I like the way you always hold doors open for people. I like how you drink your coffee black. I see all of it. I notice everything. Don't be mad at me. I'm just trying to be close to you. Sarah." I should have reported this to campus security. I should have done a lot of things. But I was 18 years old and confused. Part of me felt flattered. Another part felt hunted. I tried to ignore her. For 2 weeks, I was careful. I changed my lunch times. I went to different libraries. I took different routes between classes. It didn't matter. She found me anyway. She was always just there, in my peripheral vision, waiting outside my dorm, sitting in the back of lectures she wasn't even taking. One time, I saw her standing across the street from the gym, just watching the entrance for 40 minutes. My roommate finally asked me who the girl was. "She shows up sometimes," he said, "stands outside our dorm at night, just stands there, doesn't do anything, just watches the window." I felt something break inside me then, a fear that's hard to describe. It's not the fear of something dangerous happening in a dramatic moment. It's the fear of realizing that someone is living a different life than the one you're living, a life centered entirely on you, a life that exists in the spaces you don't see. I confronted her at the library. I found her at her usual table, and I sat down across from her uninvited. "You need to stop," I said quietly. She looked up from her book. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. "I can't," she said simply. "What do you mean you can't? Yes, you can. You just choose not to." "No," she shook her head slowly. "I don't choose. I can't be away from you. It's like my body won't let me. When I try to not look for you, my chest gets tight. When I try to not think about where you are, my head starts to hurt. I've been to a therapist. She said it's obsessive compulsive disorder, but the medication doesn't help because you're real. You're actually here, and every second I'm not with you, I feel like I'm going to die." She said it with such raw honesty that I almost believed her, almost felt sympathetic. "That's not my problem," I said. "You need to get help, real help, but you need to stay away from me." "I can't," she repeated. Over the next month, things escalated. I started getting calls from unknown numbers. I wouldn't answer, and whoever it was would just breathe on the other end. I found photos of myself posted on a private Instagram account with hundreds of pictures, all of them candid, all of them taken without my knowledge. There were photos of me sleeping in the library, photos of me talking to my mom on the phone outside my dorm, photos of me showering through the window from the bushes outside the gym. The photos from the shower were what made me finally go to the police. I reported everything. The notes, the following, the photographs. The officers took it seriously. They said they would talk to her, issue a restraining order if necessary. But before they could reach her, she disappeared. Not from my life, from the college, from the entire city. I got a letter 2 weeks later. No return address. My name was written on the envelope in her familiar handwriting. "I'm sorry. I know you hate me. I know I made you afraid, but I couldn't stop. I didn't want to stop. You were my favorite thought. You were the thing that made me feel like I was real. Without you, I don't know who I am. So I'm going somewhere else, somewhere new, where I can start over. But I need you to know something. I've never felt this way about anyone before, and I don't think I ever will again. You made me feel alive in a way I didn't know was possible. Even though it hurt you, even though it was wrong, it was the most real thing I've ever felt. I'll never forget you. I'll think about you every day for the rest of my life. And sometimes I'll come back to where you are, just to see you from far away. Just to remember how it felt to be close to someone you love. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sarah." I never saw her again after that. But for years, I'd have moments where I'd feel watched. I'd be sitting in a coffee shop, and I'd get this terrible feeling on the back of my neck. I'd turn around, and no one would be there, or someone would quickly look away. I never knew if it was really her or just paranoia. The worst part is that I sometimes wonder where she is now, if she found someone else to obsess over, if she's okay, if she ever got the help she needed. But mostly I wonder if she's somewhere nearby, watching, waiting, just like she was in those first few months. And I wonder if the way she felt about me, as disturbing and wrong as it was, will ever happen to me again. I hope it doesn't. I really do. Now, we're moving to the next story.
My name is Jennifer, and I almost didn't share this story, but I think other people should know how easily it can happen, how someone you've never met can know more about your life than your closest friends. It started with an Instagram follow request. The username was something generic. I don't even remember it now. I got follow requests every day, so I didn't think much of it. I probably would have ignored it, but they had a nice profile picture. A young woman with kind eyes. She looked like the type of person I would want to be friends with. So I accepted. Her first comment came 3 days later. I had posted a photo of my lunch, a salad with balsamic vinaigrette. It was nothing special, a normal Tuesday food photo. She commented, "That vinaigrette looks fresh. Do you make your own?" I was surprised someone had even noticed the post, let alone commented on it. I responded and we had a brief conversation. She seemed nice, intelligent, funny in a subtle way.
After that, she engaged with almost every post I made. Not in an aggressive way, just consistently present. She'd like my photos within minutes of me posting them. She'd make thoughtful comments that showed she was actually paying attention. She asked questions about my life. Where did I work? What did I study in college? Did I have siblings? I answered most of her questions. Not all of them, but enough. I was lonely, if I'm being honest. My real-life friendships were shallow. Everyone was busy. Everyone was self-absorbed. But here was someone who seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say. She knew my posting schedule. Every morning at 7:15, I'd post a coffee photo. Every evening at 6:30, I'd post something from my day. Within a month, I learned that she was usually online at those exact times, waiting for my posts. One day, she messaged me directly. "I feel like we're friends already. Would you want to actually talk, like through DM? I feel like there's so much I want to ask you." I said yes. The conversations became everything. We'd message for hours. She knew about my job stress. She knew about the guy I liked from work. She knew about my family drama. She knew that I was struggling with my weight, which is why I posted so many fitness photos. She knew my favorite coffee order. She knew the names of all my coworkers. She knew which days I went to the gym. She knew what time I usually left my apartment. And I gave her all of this information willingly. She was so easy to talk to. She never judged me. She always had advice. She was supportive in a way that felt genuine. When I was sad, she'd be sad with me. When I was excited, she'd celebrate with me. I started to think of her as a real friend, better than my real friends, honestly. Then one day, about 6 months in, she sent me a message that made my blood run cold. "I noticed you started going to that new gym on 5th Street. That's much closer to your apartment than your old gym. Smart choice. The people there seem really friendly. I watched the YouTube videos on their website. Your trainer seems nice. Is he cute? I know you think he's cute." I didn't remember telling her the name of my gym. I didn't remember mentioning my trainer. I asked her how she knew that. Her response, "I've just been watching. You share so much online. I know your whole routine. I know when you leave for work. I know when you come home. I know the coffee shop you go to on Fridays. I've been there when you're there. I've seen you in person. I wanted to say hello, but I was scared you wouldn't want to talk to me, so I just watched." I felt my entire body go cold. I blocked her immediately. I reported her to Instagram. I made my account private. I changed my routine. I stopped posting coffee photos. I stopped updating my location. I was terrified. But the messages didn't stop. She created new accounts, 5 of them, 6, 10. Each one found me within days. Each one sent me messages. "I'm sorry I scared you. I just love you. I just want to know you. Please don't shut me out. I can help you. I know everything about you. I know what you need. Please let me talk to you. I saw you at the grocery store yesterday. You were wearing the blue shirt. You look better in person than in your photos." That last one almost broke me. The thought that she had been standing near me in the grocery store, watching me, and I had no idea. I went to the police. They said there wasn't much they could do. She hadn't made direct threats. Harassment, yes, but it would take time to investigate. In the meantime, I should focus on privacy settings and blocking accounts. I deleted Instagram entirely. I stopped posting on any social media platform. I told my friends to stop tagging me in photos. I became almost invisible online. For 3 months, nothing happened. I thought it was over. Then I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line was blank. The email contained a spreadsheet. It was detailed, incredibly detailed. It had information about every person I followed on Instagram. It had screenshots of every comment I had ever made. It had a list of every photo I had posted for the past 2 years, organized by date. It had notes about each photo, where I was, what I was wearing, who I was with, who I was looking at in the background of certain photos. There were additional columns with information that I had never shared online. My work schedule, the route I took to work, the names of my close friends, details about my family, my medical history, my dating history, everything.
The final column was labeled Future, and it was mostly blank, but there were a few entries. June 12th, coffee at Blue Moon Cafe, usual Friday spot. June 18th, gym at 6:15 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays are leg day. June 23rd, likely to be alone at apartment between 7 and 9 p.m. She goes to yoga class on Wednesday nights. I reported the email to the police immediately. This time, they took it more seriously. They opened an investigation. They tried to trace the email, but it had been routed through multiple VPNs and encrypted servers. Whoever she was, she knew how to cover her tracks. For months, the police investigated. They never found her. No one could trace the original Instagram account. No one could identify who she really was. I started seeing a therapist. I installed cameras in my apartment. I changed my entire life. I didn't go to my usual coffee shop anymore. I didn't go to the gym. I barely left my apartment except for work.
And I developed this paranoia that never really went away. Even now, years later, I'll be in public and I'll have this feeling, the feeling of being watched. I'll turn around suddenly, trying to catch someone in the act, but it's never anyone. Or maybe it is, and they're just good at hiding. The worst part is that I still think about her sometimes. I wonder who she really is. I wonder what she's doing now. I wonder if she's watching someone else the same way she watched me. Building a relationship with a stranger through a screen, learning their routines, planning moments where they'll cross paths, never knowing that someone is orchestrating it all. I wonder if she's happy, if she found what she was looking for. And I wonder if she's still out there, behind some screen, watching someone else's life unfold. I'm almost certain she is. Now we're moving to the next story. My name is David, and what I'm about to tell you happened to me over the course of 2 years. 2 years of my life that I can never get back. Rebecca and I dated for 8 months. It wasn't an epic love story. It was fine, normal. We went out on weekends, we watched movies at her place, we introduced each other to our friends. But somewhere in the middle, I realized that I wasn't happy. She wanted to get serious. She talked about marriage. She talked about kids. She talked about a future that I didn't want. So I ended it. The breakup was civil. I remember being careful with my words. I didn't want to hurt her. I said that I wasn't ready for what she wanted, that I thought she deserved someone who was sure about her, someone who wanted the same things. She cried, but not dramatically. She said she understood, but she hoped that maybe someday I'd change my mind. I should have known right then. The way she said that, the way she looked at me, it wasn't acceptance, it was patience. For the first week after the breakup, everything was normal. She didn't call, she didn't text. I thought we had handled it maturely. I thought we could maybe be friends eventually. Then, the letters started arriving. They were handwritten, addressed to me, no return address, but I knew they were from her. I know you said you're not ready, but I am. I will wait for you to be ready. I don't mind waiting. I would rather wait for you than be with anyone else. You are my person. I know that. Even if you don't know it yet, I know it. I called her and told her to stop. She apologized. She said she was just processing her emotions. She wouldn't do it again. She did it again. The letters became more frequent, 2 per week, 3 per week, always about how much she loved me, how she knew we were meant to be together, how she was certain that I would realize I made a mistake. Then she started showing up places, my favorite grocery store, my gym, my favorite restaurant. Always casual, always with some excuse about how she happened to be in the neighborhood. "I didn't know you came here," she'd say, appearing next to me in the produce section. "What a coincidence," she'd say, stretching next to me on the treadmill. But it wasn't a coincidence. I realized quickly that these weren't accidents. She knew where I would be and when. She was planning these encounters. I tried to be direct. I asked her to stop contacting me. I told her that what she was doing was making me uncomfortable. I said that it was over and it would never happen again. "You don't mean that," she said. And there was something in her voice, something that sounded like certainty, like she knew something I didn't. "I do mean it," I said. "I don't want to see you anymore."
"Yes, you do," she replied. "You're just scared. But that's okay. I can be patient. I can wait for you to get over this fear." I started dating other people. Rebecca didn't like that. The first time I brought someone home, Rebecca called me at 2 a.m. "Who's the girl?" she asked. "How did you—" I started. "I was driving by," she said. "I saw her car. I was just checking on you, making sure you were okay." The next girl I dated lasted 2 weeks. Rebecca showed up at her work. My girlfriend didn't know who she was, but Rebecca introduced herself as my best friend and told her all about my family history, things I had told Rebecca in confidence, private things. My girlfriend left me after that. The third girl lasted 3 days before Rebecca sent her an email. I don't know what the email said, but it was enough. My girlfriend showed it to me, and I saw the subject line, "You should know what kind of person he really is." I deleted the email after that. I didn't read it. I didn't want to know what Rebecca had said about me, but I knew it was a lie, or at least a twisted version of the truth. For a full year, I couldn't maintain a relationship. Every time I tried to date someone, Rebecca would sabotage it. She would show up. She would call. She would somehow find out personal information and weaponize it.
My friends told me to go to the police. I did. The officer was sympathetic, but he said that without direct threats, there wasn't much they could do. No threats of violence, nothing that would constitute a crime. "She's just obsessed with you," the officer said. Like that was a normal thing. Like it wasn't terrifying to be the object of someone's complete and total obsession. I tried to move. I got a new apartment on the other side of the city. I got a new job. I didn't tell Rebecca where I was going. I told no one who might tell her. For 2 months, it worked. I had peace. Real peace. I could go to the grocery store without looking over my shoulder. I could go on a date without waiting for Rebecca to appear. Then I found her, sitting in her car outside my apartment building. I don't know how long she had been looking for me. I don't know how she found me, but there she was, waiting. When I confronted her, she was calm, eerily calm. "I'll always find you," she said. "No matter where you go, no matter how hard you try to hide, because we belong together, and you can't hide from destiny." That was the moment I realized that she wasn't well, that this wasn't just a girl who couldn't handle rejection. This was someone who had rewritten reality in her mind, someone who had constructed an entire fantasy where we were meant to be together, and every action she took was justified by that fantasy. I moved to a different city. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I cut off contact with everyone from my old life who might know Rebecca or might accidentally tell her my location. For 3 years, I didn't see her, but every few months I would get a letter. Always the same handwriting, always the same message. "I'm still waiting. I will always be waiting." The letters would arrive at my workplace, even though I never gave her the address. They would arrive at addresses I had only recently moved to, months after I got there. I don't know if she's actually still looking for me, or if the letters are just coming from some dead letter office, misdirected mail that finally found its way to me years later. But I know, deep down, that somewhere out there, Rebecca is still thinking about me, still believing that we will be together someday, still constructing scenarios in her mind where I finally realize my mistake and come back to her. And the scariest part is this. I sometimes wonder if she's right. I sometimes wonder if there's a version of reality where I did stay with her, where I made different choices, where we are actually happy together. Because the obsession works both ways, doesn't it? Once someone obsesses over you for long enough, you start to obsess over them too. Not in the way they want, but you think about them. You wonder about them. You construct scenarios where things are different. You become trapped in their obsession, just like they are.
My name is Emma, and this story still gives me nightmares. 5 years later, and I still have nightmares about it. I moved into my apartment in April. 3rd floor, 1 bedroom, nice natural light in the morning. The building was quiet. The landlord was nice. Everything seemed perfect. I didn't notice him at first. It was my neighbor, 2 buildings over. He lived in the apartment that directly faced mine. I would see him sometimes when I looked out my window, but windows work both ways, and I didn't think much about it. We both lived in a city, we both had windows, it was normal. But then I started noticing patterns. Every time I came home, he would appear in his window. Not immediately, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after I arrived, but he would be there, just standing, watching my building, or maybe just looking outside. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then I started finding things. A photo slipped under my door. It was me, walking up the stairs to my apartment. The photo was professional, high quality, taken with a good camera from across the street. I was wearing the outfit from the day before. I reported it to my landlord. He said it was probably a prank. Kids in the building, nothing to worry about. But I knew better. I started closing my curtains, all of them. I stopped opening my windows, even on hot days. I made sure my lights were never off because I didn't want to sit in the dark where he could see me. Living in fear is exhausting. You don't realize how much energy it takes until you're doing it 24 hours a day, checking the locks on the doors, making sure the windows are closed, not letting anyone know that you're home alone, not showering when the curtains are open, not changing clothes in front of the windows. I started keeping a log every time I saw him, every time I found evidence that he was watching me. Photographs slipped under my door, notes that said things like, "You looked beautiful in that blue dress," and "I liked how you did your hair today," a receipt from a restaurant I had gone to with a friend with a note on the back. I was sitting 2 tables away. You didn't see me, but I saw you. One night, I found a video file on my doorstep. It was on a USB drive in a plastic bag. The note said, "I thought you might want to see this." I almost didn't watch it, but I needed to know. I needed to know how bad it was. The video was from inside my apartment. It was from my bedroom. It was taken from outside my window, through the curtains. The image was grainy, but you could see me clearly, sleeping. In my bed, in the clothes I slept in. I started screaming. I called the police. This time, they took it seriously. They came to my apartment. They looked at the photographs. They reviewed my log. They set up a stakeout to watch for suspicious activity. For a week, they watched, and for a week, nothing happened. No one appeared, no notes came, nothing. The police said that maybe the person had realized they were being watched and had stopped. They said I should feel safer now. I didn't feel safer. I did some investigating on my own. I looked across the street to the building where the man lived.
I started paying attention to the windows. Which ones had his face in them? Which ones had lights on? What time he seemed to wake up? I became a watcher too. I found out his name. I followed him to work once. I discovered that he worked at a coffee shop 5 blocks from my apartment. I learned his routine: morning run at 6:30, work from 9 to 5, evening walks around the neighborhood. I was obsessing over him the same way he was obsessing over me, and I realized in a moment of sudden clarity that this is what he had done to me. He had made me so focused on him, so paranoid about where he was and what he was doing, that he had essentially moved into my head rent-free. But knowing that didn't make it stop. I went to his apartment building one day. I stood in the lobby and looked at the mailboxes. I found his name: Michael Chen, apartment 4C.
But knowing that didn't make it stop. I went to his apartment building one day. I stood in the lobby and looked at the mailboxes. I found his name: Michael Chen, apartment 4C. I could have reported him to his landlord. I could have gone back to the police with his name and address. I could have done things the right way. Instead, I knocked on his door. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I thought I could confront him. Maybe I thought seeing me face to face, seeing that I knew who he was, would scare him into stopping. He answered the door, and he looked surprised. Then he smiled, a genuine smile, like he was happy to see me. "You found me," he said. "I wasn't sure if you would. I hoped you would, but I wasn't sure." "Stay away from me," I said. "Stop watching me. Stop leaving things at my door. Just leave me alone." "I can't do that," he said. And he said it the same way Rebecca had said it to David, the same certainty, the same belief that what he was doing was right. "Why not?" I asked. "Because I love you," he said simply, "and I can't stop loving you. I don't want to stop." "You don't even know me," I said. "I know you better than anyone," he replied. "I know what time you wake up. I know what you eat for breakfast. I know what you read before you go to bed. I know how you cry when you're sad. I know how you smile when you're happy. I know you." "You're watching me without my consent," I said, my voice shaking. "That's not love. That's sick." "Maybe," he said, "but it doesn't change how I feel." I left his apartment and went directly to the police. This time, I had a name, I had an address, I had evidence. They arrested him. At his trial, they found terabytes of data, photographs spanning months, video recordings, notes about my routines, sketches he had drawn of me. The jury found him guilty of stalking and invasion of privacy. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. But here's the thing that still haunts me: the way he looked at me during the trial, not with anger or regret, with love, complete, unwavering love. Even as the judge was sentencing him, he looked at me like I was the best thing he had ever seen. And a small part of me understood it, because in trying to catch him, I had become obsessed with him too. Even now, 5 years later, I sometimes wonder what he's doing. I wonder if he's out of prison. I wonder if he's watching someone else. I wonder if he thinks about me. And sometimes, late at night when I should be sleeping, I wonder if there's a part of me that misses being watched, misses feeling like someone cared so much about my existence that they dedicated their entire life to knowing me. It's a thought I hate having, but it's a thought I can't stop having. Now we're moving to the next story.
My name is Tyler, and I almost didn't report what happened because I was embarrassed, because part of what occurred was my fault. I let it go on longer than I should have. I convinced myself that it was harmless. I told myself that I was overreacting. I was wrong. She started in my department in September. Her name was Lindsay. She was smart, talented, funny in a way that made meetings actually enjoyable. She fit in immediately with the team, and she attached herself to me. At first, it was just normal coworker stuff. She'd ask me questions about projects. She'd sit next to me in meetings. She'd eat lunch with my friend group. But gradually, it became less normal. She started arranging her schedule around mine. If I took my coffee break at 10 a.m., she'd take hers at 10:05. If I ate lunch at noon, she'd eat at 12:15. She was always just slightly behind me, following my patterns. She started learning things about me, my family history, my dating life, my financial situation, my health issues. She would ask these questions in such a casual way that I didn't realize I was being interviewed until weeks later, when I realized I had told her more about myself than I had told my best friend. At work, she would find excuses to touch me, a hand on my arm when she was excited, a brush of her shoulder when we were walking together. She would stand close, closer than was comfortable. My friends noticed. "She likes you," my friend Marcus said one day. "What? No, she's just friendly," I said. "No, dude, she likes you. She's always looking at you, and she laughs at everything you say, even when it's not funny." I thought about it and realized he was right, but I didn't want to make it a thing. We worked together. If I rejected her, it could make the entire department awkward, so I just didn't address it. Instead, I tried to create distance. I started eating lunch alone. I stopped going out for drinks with coworkers. I made sure that conversations stayed professional. It didn't work. One day, Lindsay asked me if I wanted to get coffee after work. Just coffee, just the two of us. I said no. I said I was tired and wanted to go home. "Oh," she said, and I could see her face fall. But then she smiled again. "That's okay, we can do it another day. I'll ask you again next week." She did ask me again next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Every time I said no, she would smile and say, "That's okay, I'll ask you again next time." It was like she was giving me multiple chances to say yes, like she believed that eventually I would change my mind. Then things escalated. I started getting texts from an unknown number. The messages said things like, "I hope you had a good day at work. I saw you drinking that coffee you like. You looked good today. Are you thinking about me? I'm thinking about you. I hate that you won't go out with me, but I understand. I'm patient. I can wait." I blocked the number. New messages came from different numbers. I went to HR. The HR representative was a woman named Patricia. She seemed sympathetic, but she asked me some questions that made me uncomfortable. "Has she threatened you?" Patricia asked. "No, but has she touched you without consent?" "Well, she touched my arm a few times, but it wasn't." "Has she prevented you from doing your job?" "No, but..." "Then I'm not sure there's much we can do," Patricia said. "It sounds like she has a crush on you. That's not against company policy. The text messages are concerning, but without a direct threat, we can't take action." I asked if I could be transferred to a different department. Patricia sighed. "We can request it, but transfers take time to process. In the meantime, I suggest you talk to Lindsay directly. Tell her that her attention is making you uncomfortable. Be firm, but professional." I asked her to meet me in the conference room. I closed the door. I told her that her behavior was making me uncomfortable. I said that I wasn't interested in a relationship with her, and I didn't appreciate the text messages. She listened quietly. Then she cried. "I'm so sorry," she said. I've never felt this way about anyone before. I can't help it. I know I'm being weird, and I'm sorry. I'll stop. I promise I'll stop." She seemed genuine. She seemed remorseful. So I believed her. For 2 weeks, she left me alone. She didn't text. She didn't seek me out at work. She barely looked at me. I felt relieved. I thought the problem was solved. Then I discovered something that made my skin crawl. I opened my desk drawer to get a file, and I found a note tucked underneath my documents. It was from Lindsay. "I know you told me to stop, and I am stopping the obvious things, but I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop loving you. I've tried everything to make these feelings go away, but nothing works. So I'm just going to do this differently.
I'm going to show you that I can be the person you need. I'm going to make you fall in love with me. And when you do, you'll understand that everything I did was worth it."
That was the first note. There were more. Over the next few days, I found notes hidden all over my desk, in my drawer, under my keyboard, taped to the back of my monitor. They all had the same theme. She couldn't stop loving me. She was going to prove her love. She was going to make me see that we were meant to be together. I reported it to HR again. This time, I brought in the notes. Patricia read them carefully. Her expression changed. "Okay," she said. "This is more serious. I'm going to talk to her today. I'm going to put her on administrative leave while we investigate, and I'm going to recommend that she get a psychological evaluation as a condition of her continued employment." Lindsay was called into the office. I don't know what happened in that meeting, but when she came out, she looked devastated. She looked at me as she was walking out, and the look in her eyes was so full of hurt that I felt guilty. Even after everything, even knowing that what she was doing was wrong, I felt guilty for hurting her. She was placed on leave. She was required to go to therapy. She was forbidden from contacting me in any way, but she still found ways.
One day, I came home and found my car damaged. All 4 tires slashed. A note on the windshield. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. Please forgive me." Another day, I got a call from an unknown number. No one spoke, but I could hear breathing. I hung up and blocked the number. The next day, another call came from a different number. I went to the police this time. The officers took a report. They advised me to change my number, which I did. They advised me to document everything, which I did. They told me they would keep an eye on the situation, but there wasn't much they could do without a direct threat. Lindsay was eventually fired from the company, but by that point, the damage to me was extensive. I had developed severe anxiety. I couldn't concentrate at work. I couldn't sleep at night without checking my locks multiple times. I eventually quit my job and found work somewhere else. But the paranoia never really left. Every time I get a call from an unknown number, my heart races. Every time I see a car with a damaged bumper, I check the license plate. Every time a woman looks at me a certain way, I wonder if she's obsessed with me. And sometimes I wonder how Lindsay is doing. I sometimes Google her name to see if she's popped up in the news for any reason. I wonder if she ever got help. I wonder if she's okay. Because underneath my fear and my anger, there's a small part of me that understands what happened to her. A small part of me that recognizes the pain of not being able to stop feeling something, even when you know it's destructive. It's a lonely feeling, and I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Now we're moving to the next story.
Well, friends, that's all 5 stories for today. 5 terrifying tales of obsession. 5 different people who let their feelings spiral into something twisted and dark. 5 reminders that the scariest things in life aren't monsters or ghosts. They're real people. They're humans, just like you and me. I hope these stories stayed with you. I hope they made you think twice about obsession. I hope they made you uncomfortable. I hope they kept you up at night. And if you haven't watched the Obsession movie yet, please go watch it. Seriously, go watch it right now, because after hearing these stories, seeing that movie will hit you differently. It will make you understand how real this is, how possible this is, how obsession can destroy lives. But I want to know something. What did you think about these 5 stories? Did they scare you? Did they disturb you? Did any of them feel too close to home? Did you recognize yourself or someone you know in any of these people? Please, please, please drop a comment down below and let me know. Tell me which story scared you the most. Tell me which one you couldn't stop thinking about. Tell me if you've experienced something like this in real life. I read every single comment, every single one, and I want to hear from you. And if you enjoyed these stories, if you felt that fear creeping up your spine, if you found yourself unable to look away, then please hit that subscribe button. Hit it right now, because Fear Tells is growing, and I need your support. Subscribe to Fear Tells. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Share these stories with your friends. Share them with people who love scary content. Let the fear spread. And seriously, go watch the Obsession movie. If you loved these stories, that movie will blow your mind. It's incredible. It's disturbing. It's everything we talked about today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to these 5 stories. Thank you for being part of the Fear Tells family. Your support means everything to me. Until next time, sleep well if you can.